Yo guys, I'm back with the Golden Dragon game video. Today we're watching the SFM video called My Husband Keeps Staring at Me. And please like and subscribe to the SFM and like and subscribe to his channel. It makes good horror films, like horror films. And you know, the championship I've watched, right? The pictures of it are scary, so as I'm gonna watch this, and I hope it's like good. Let's get to
Jake is an amazing man. We have been together for 8 wonderful years.
Listen, if you can anything, you know by the ears that Scout is Spy's like son.
We have been together for 8 wonderful years and married nearly 7 of those years.
And
we have struggles like any couple, but we've done well as a team to overcome anything life has thrown at us. Until now. Until this insane situation. About 2 weeks ago, Jake and I came home after going out for dinner. We were both pretty worn out. Jake and I came home after going out for dinner. We were both pretty worn out from these events and we're just eager to hop in bed. We went.
If you happen to subscribe to his channel to make better like videos, I think, so go check out the video.
Showering, comfy clothes, teeth brushing, you get it. We hopped in bed and gave each other good night's kiss.
If you don't make me
off
check
in
it
our
too
bedroom
much,
and snuggled into bed to sleep. I turned on my sound and looked at the new nightlight Jake had recently bought for me, as I cannot stop in a totally dark room, and drifted off to sleep. Drifted off to sleep.
you can see it's nice
I
light.
awoke to start. I was confused. After blinking a few times and letting myself become more focused, I glanced at the alarm clock on my nightstand to see 2:32 a.m. in bold red. I turned over to face towards Jake, and immediately froze. Jake was laying flat on his back, arms standing perfectly still at his sides, and his head was turned towards me. He had a blank expression, but his eyes were wide open, staring directly into my soul. I never stopped breathing. I just stared back into his wide and blinking eyes for several seconds before reality sunk back into my brain and I realized something had to be horribly broken. I immediately looked at his chest and could see he was breathing. Jake? Honey? Are you okay? I said as I reached to touch him. His body felt ice cold and they sent me further spiraling. I sat straight up in the bed.
We got two things that other videos, right? Of the chemicals. I don't know about this video connected, but these scary like Creepypasta videos, that'll be cool. And that'll be annoying.
I quickly moved over him. His head slightly turned while his eyes followed me, still wide and unblinking. I grabbed both of his cold shoulders and started to shake him. Jake! Jake! Please! Please wake up! Wake up! No response. Just his eyes boiling into my soul. Tears ran down my face as I turned to reach for my phone. And I grabbed the phone off the nightstand and started to dial 911 with shaky fingers. And before I could hit send, when I heard the sound of snoring, I turned to look back at my husband. I felt myself freezing for a different reason. Jake's eyes were now closed. His face was more relaxed and his lips were slightly parted, resting peacefully. I dropped my phone on the bed and climbed over to touch him again, and I felt warm. I sat in disbelief for several minutes, just staring at him as he slept soundly.
Wake
Eventually,
him up.
I put my phone back on the nightstand and laid back down. I turned on my side away from him and pulled the covers over my head, and somehow I drifted off to sleep despite still feeling terrified. The next morning, I woke to the smell of bacon frying and Jake's side of the bed empty. The previous
Oh my
night's
God.
event seemed more like a vivid nightmare at this point, and I slid out of bed and headed into the kitchen. Jake smiled when he saw me. "Good morning, beautiful," he said sweetly while plating a few strips of bacon beside a pile.
It's like a curse. If something controls my night, when he's gonna do something like it, but he turns off, right? And the morning it doesn't happen, he's just normal husband. We think they don't have children. If he does this, those are children, it'll be fine.
"Morning," I greeted him back as he brought my
They should
breakfast and a
only
cup of
units.
coffee over to me.
Oh, damn.
"Did you sleep well?" he asked as he moved to grab his own plate before sitting beside me at the bar. Not really."
Well, in the end of that, I'm never gonna camping again. We see a thinner like this driving back and saying no, like a bit too more of creepy thing. Do you think that the sniper with a beard married this woman? That could kill these two are connected. Oh, that would be a good connection.
And Jake went over puzzled. "What's wrong? Why didn't you sleep a bit?" "You recall looking, well, glaring at me last night." Jake looked even more confused. No. Why would I do that?" "I don't know. It was so creepy. Even Phil asked her. And you wouldn't wake up. I almost called an ambulance." Jake dropped his phone and got up from his seat, and he wrapped his arms around me and hugged me tight. "I am so sorry, sweetie. It sounds awful. It was probably some weird night terror. I doubt it happens again, though. Do you still love me?" I hugged him back as I snuggled into him. "Always." The next few days went by without incident. The weird staring experience had faded into my brain. However, I woke with a start. Why? I didn't know. My heart started around the room before setting off the alarm clock. 2:32 a.m. I slowly turned to look at Jake and let out a yell. He was sitting straight up in bed, but his head was turned towards me. Black expression with eyes wide open, so wide that it didn't seem humanly possible. I slowly crawled towards him while whispering his name. No reaction. I gently reached out to touch his shoulder. Ice cold. I stared into his big, unblinking eyes, and I don't know what came over me, but before I realized what I was doing, I slapped him across the face using every bit of strength I could muster. It was like slapping a solid rock, cold and unmoving.
We're at 6 minutes.
But he didn't respond at all. I was frozen as I watched him slowly lay down, eyes never blinking or breaking from mine. I turned away to reach for my phone again, only to hear the sound of him snoring. I jerked my head to see him once again, sound asleep, eyes closed, and face relaxed. I snatched my phone off the nightstand and headed out into the room to the couch and laid down. I switched off the light and grabbed the blanket off the couch. I snuggled under the blanket as I laid on the semi-comfortable cushions, and I searched up my tears, trying my best to convince myself that all was a dream. No matter what I read, I could not bring myself to go back into the bedroom with him. I woke with a start again, but this time, the sunlight filled the room, and my eyes finally settled on the concerned-looking face of Jake. "What are you doing out here? You did it again. This time you were sitting up. You were barely looking human.
No bending. Next to you standing. And then
You're scaring me, Jake. I blurted out as my eyes filled with tears. And Jake's face softened as he reached for me, pulling me into a warm embrace. I was almost scared to touch him. He apologized again, said he needed to hurry into work, but promised he'd call the doctor. We agreed his sleep study may help. I calmed down and walked out on the porch to see him off. The best the doctor could do was an appointment next week. I dreaded nightfall and almost didn't sleep in bed with him, but he begged me to try again. A couple more nights passed without incident, and I started to relax once more. Then tonight happened. I woke up with blurry vision at first, very confused at what I was seeing, but after blinking a couple of times, I felt a scream leave my throat. Jake was not laying down beside me or even sitting up. He was standing beside my side, leaned over me.
confused without mercy.
Just from my face, his eyes wide, unblinking and bulging, and the absolute worst had I seen. His expression was blank, but he didn't look like him anymore. His skin was nearly gray and aged, mouth stretched too long in a firm line, and cheeks sunken in and those horrific eyes burning into my soul. My mind went blank, so I was paralyzed with fear. Then his stretched lips twitched in a strange way, and came the voice. I saw. It wasn't Jake's voice. It was too deep, too rough, and too aged. Finally, my adrenaline kicked in. I slid over and rolled away from him, and off his side of the bed. I ran out of the room as fast as I could, still feeling those awful, large and bulging eyes on me. I grabbed my car keys and ran out of the house. The car couldn't start fast enough as it roared to life. I gunned it out of the driveway and down the road. Tears rolled down my face as I sped away from the house and those haunting eyes. The darkness washed over me. I screamed and cried as all the visions I had worked so hard to block from my mind and came flooding back. I had heard the voice before. That night, Jake begged me to stay at home, but a few friends were going bar hopping and refused to stay behind. I had an alcohol problem and was becoming more and more of an issue. I promised Jake I'd only have a beer or two. Kissed him goodbye and was on my way. Next thing I know, it's after 2 a.m. and I was behind the wheel of my car, drunk. I was taking the curves too fast, and the radio was off. I was singing at the top of my lungs when a figure in the road appeared. My brain was not registering or reacting quick enough, but by the time I hit the brake, it was too late. I hit the figure, hard. The car skidded to a halt, and the figure was unlaid in the center of the road, several feet away from the vehicle. I started on my radio screen before jumping out of the car. 2:32 a.m.
So, if you do the guy,
I ran to see what it was. I felt suddenly sore as I pleaded for it to be a deer. It wasn't. It was an elderly man, eyes wide open and bulging, and looking up at me. It was not good. He was badly injured. Gore covered the ceiling, and I heard his voice, deep and rough. I panicked. If I called this in, I'd lose everything. Everything being Jake and we had been. I'd go to jail, possibly for life. I looked around the surroundings, mostly woods. A few houses further down the road, completely darkened. No lights, no people, no witnesses. Surely, another vehicle would come along and help. There's no guarantees. He'll make it regardless. I looked back down my victim. I'm sorry, I whimpered. I ran back to my car and put it on drive. I swerved around it and bounded down the road. I pulled in the driveway and ran into the house. Jake was sound asleep as I stood under the hot water in the shower. Reassuring myself no one saw me, someone else would help. I was halfway. It was on the news the next day, and no one saw me. It was a couple of hours before
The
someone else
old
came
man was
along.
curious.
It was too
What?
late then. It
Wait.
was a couple of hours before someone else would look. I was halfway.
Early on the moon between two radios and 12 a.m. Another man
It was all the news the next day.
was found tossed leaning against a street pole along the quiet road. The discovery was made by civilian passing through
Hours before
on
someone
a
else
late
came along.
March ride, prompting authorities to respond to the
It was too
scene.
late then. The
Man,
elderly
call!
gentleman had dementia and wandered off his house while his granddaughter slept. Wandered into work and met his horrible fate when I had strict my foolish decisions. And somehow, I convinced myself I never would have made it. No point in me ruining my life. I blocked the horrible event from my brain and swore of alcohol. Life went on, and things were normal. Better than normal even. I did not realize the first night I encountered my husband staring at me was the 1-year anniversary of the accident. It all makes sense now. Whether the ghost of the old man was really possessed, or Jake, or if this is a byproduct of a guilty subconscious makes no difference. He's haunting me. When I'm writing this confession from my hotel room, I left my laptop on the car the day before. Lucky me. To Jake, I am so sorry I hurt you. To the elderly gentleman, I am so sorry for what I did to you. I planned to turn myself in. I feared jail, but now I feared haunting me.
I'm listening more free
May this break this curse. Never drink and drive.
That's scary. So let's say, in the picture, Tim is on his face, but his arms are on. Tim comes back, right? To be persistent. That'll be scary. So as it is, let's subscribe. Check out It's Andy's channel. I'm not subscribed to him, but as it is, I'll end the video here. So bye.